Hello, it is Beach with my babies, or Nikki. Sorry, I have a cold, so forgive me here. This particular video is for some people who are watching me in North Carolina who work with my friend. So, very flattering and hi, nice to kind of meet you, even though it's not personal. You guys gave me a couple of questions that Melissa emailed me, so I'm going to answer those questions for you guys. First question, why did I choose the sleeve over a bypass? The reason I chose the sleeve was because originally I had wanted to get a lap band because when I originally talked to my doctor about it after I had some tests done, basically I've been working with my doctor for about 2 years trying to lose baby weight and it just wasn't coming off, and so I was constantly kind of going in and reevaluating labs, and finally after the last lab we were testing my what is it called, thyroid, to see if I had any like hypothyroidism. And the doctor told me, if it comes back negative, I want you to seriously consider the lap band or the gastric bypass. And then she kind of did a disclaimer saying, I don't normally recommend these because I don't think that all my clientele would work really well, but because you've done all these different diets and you followed all these different rules, and I know that you're really good at like following rules and blah, 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 she's like, I think that you would be a good candidate for this. And when she told me that, I was really shocked and surprised that that was even something that was an option. I think because I always associate weight loss surgery with people who are severely, severely obese. And even though I was morbidly obese according to BMI standards, and I was not happy with my weight, I just didn't see myself like that yet. Well, I still kind of don't. I have a great respect for people who are severely, severely overweight or obese and do the surgery because it's a bold step to have to make. And so I just didn't think that I was there, so I was really surprised that that was an option. Anyway, long story short, which is apparently not going to be short, I was not hypothyroid. My thyroid was perfectly normal. All my labs are totally normal. So there was nothing physiologically wrong. So I investigated. So my doctor said, okay, so I am going to make an appointment for you in 2 weeks to come back, and we're not going to do anything for 2 weeks. I want you to research lap band and gastric bypass, and when you come back, we'll talk about it. So I did a lot of research because she knows I don't do anything without some serious research behind me. I was researching it for a couple weeks, and because she only mentioned gastric bypass and lap band, I looked at the two. Gastric bypass to me seemed really extreme, and for the reasons that I was just talking about. I didn't feel like I was severely morbidly obese enough for gastric bypass. The idea of rerouting my intestines to eliminate the sphincter in my stomach, and then also all of the fact that there are many foods that you have some major issues with, like with sugars and things, because of the fact that they just dump now into your small intestine. That made me nervous. Not so much from the surgery standpoint, as much as it just really bothered me. The rerouting of the intestines really intimidated me. It didn't feel right to me, and so I very quickly kind of ruled that one out. I for whatever reason, it just didn't seem very appealing to me, and I also didn't like the idea that there are various psychological things that were going on. But the other thing, okay, I'll get to another thing in a minute that stems to where my brain fart there. The lap band. I looked into the lap band, and that seemed like the most reasonable to me. It was very modest. I didn't like the idea of having a foreign object implanted into my body because I have a lot of sensitivities. I'm allergic to a lot of stuff, and I know my body's really sensitive to things. Like, for instance, every time I have an IV, I can feel the needle the whole time because my body freaks out whenever there's anything in me that's not supposed to be there. So that made me a little nervous, but I liked the idea that I could completely deflate the ring whenever I wanted to, or inflate the ring according to the doctor's orders, and that it was something that would go with me with the diet. So that's kind of what I was interested in. Partly because I know I have a habit of cheating with diets. Not like, more like self-sabotage in some ways. I tend to find loopholes in the rules and then abuse those rules. when I get really frustrated, because usually it would take me about a month to see a pound of weight loss, and I would get so pissed and frustrated by that point that I would sabotage myself because I was so angry. And so I'd get very rebellious with my dieting. And I was really nervous that with either of these, that if I got rebellious, I would make myself really dangerously sick. So that made me really nervous. So anyway, and, I had that thought, that idea of, like, I didn't like the idea of either one, that I'd have to eliminate foods forever from my life. I had a big debate with that, and my outcome with that is this. I can eat anything that I wanted to at that time, and no foods ever made me happy because my weight was so miserable. Therefore, why did I have the logic that if I restricted or eliminated those things from my diet, it would make me miserable? Because having them in my life at the time still made me miserable. So I very quickly overcame that. I think that's just a fear that a lot of people have before any procedure like this, because the idea of having to give something up forever is really intimidating. But when you logically look at it, it makes a lot of sense, because it's like I had access to everything that I wanted, and I was miserable. So anyway, I only have about 4 more minutes on this video, so I'll probably be answering multiple videos, just FYI. So I went back in to talk to Dr. Chen. I said I wanted the lap band. It seemed more reasonable. I went to my surgeon. I met with the surgeon. I did a big intake process. It was like an 8-hour first appointment. And after he had said that after I told him I wanted the lap band, he said that he did not recommend that for me. And I was surprised. And he said that basically because of my age, I'm 33, and because of the weight loss that I had to lose, which I was at the BMI to qualify me for, but I was not like severely morbidly obese, so I didn't have a long way to go. He actually felt that there were more chances of something going wrong with the lap band in my body than of side effects of the gastric bypass or the gastric sleeve. He said that basically the gastric bypass and gastric sleeve side effects, generally if you're going to have something bad go happen, it happens earlier on, and then once your body is healed, there's relatively very few negative side effects. Whereas with the lap band, you start off, it's a much simpler procedure, it's very easy on your system at first. However, as that object is in your body for longer periods of time, it degrades. And the analysis he used that made sense to me was like my glasses. He said, when you buy your glasses brand new, you put them on your face, they work great. However, over time, as you bang them around and you use them, the prescription slowly degrades and it doesn't work anymore. The instruments themselves, like the hinges and stuff, start falling apart. And he said basically the only way to get the lap band out of my body is for surgical. And he said that a lot of people have to have surgical revisions with the lap band because the lap band eventually starts to degrade in their body, or it breaks and it perforates an intestine or a stomach. And that, knowing my history with foreign objects in my body, I knew that as soon as he said that I didn't want the lap band. Because again, from my age. He also said that generally it's a surgical intervention that works while the lap band's in your body. However, when it comes time and you want to remove it, he said, like with most surgical interventions, once you remove the intervention, things generally go back to where they were before. And I really am in this for the long haul, and so I didn't like those ideas. So he had mentioned the sleeve, and I had never known anything about the sleeve. So I ended up, and I got like a minute, so I ended up researching the sleeve, and for reasons I'll say in my next video, I will tell you why the sleeve was for me, and I will answer the questions. So hopefully that's part 1. All right.